Hello and welcome to Movies on the Side. This is Stephen Robles.
And this is Nate Baranowski.
And today we are reviewing the 2022 movie Amsterdam, starring Margot Robbie, Christian Bale, and John David Washington. Now, this is the second movie we've seen him in. Do you remember the first?
Tenet.
Pretty obvious. Tenet.
Tenet.
It's a palindrome, saying backwards and forwards. But if our listeners and viewers don't know, this is Denzel Washington's son, which I always have to remind myself, like, wait a minute, that's that guy. That's that guy. So very fun. But anyway, we're going to review it. We'll do a spoiler horn. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can listen to the review and then the spoiler horn, and then we'll talk about the rest of the movie. And this is our second episode in a row doing this. But you can watch this episode. If you're listening to us right now, go watch us at youtube.com/@moviesontheside. You can watch me and Nate. Nate's doing hand motions and doing things in the air. He's wearing a very fun hat right now. You can see all of that if you watch us on YouTube, and if you support us at patreon.com/moviesontheside, you can watch our bonus episode, which is frankly just getting insanely long, Nate. I don't know when this happened.
No, it's because we like talking to each other, and we happen to talk about fast food and drive-through etiquette, which apparently gets us all riled up.
We did spend 20 minutes on
a little bit. Etiquette. Yeah.
I did too, because I missed a breakfast at a place and I wasn't very happy. But anyway, you can listen to that in the bonus episode. So let's talk about Amsterdam. I feel like this movie totally flew under the radar when it was released. Like, I didn't catch was it in theaters? I didn't even catch if it was.
Yeah, I think so. Must have been.
I think it was. It's on HBO Max right now, so you can stream it there. We usually do Rotten Tomatoes, so let's do that. I will warn you, I don't know if you like this movie or not, but the Rotten Tomatoes I was a little surprised by. I'll just say that.
Okay.
And I'll give you one more hint. The audience score is almost double the critic score.
Ooh.
Okay.
So,
critic score, what is your prediction? What do you guess?
Well, it has to be about less than 50. I'm going to say critics give it a 41.
Critics gave this a 33%. 33%. And I don't think you guessed the audience score because I kind of told you it was double. So it was 66%. 66%.
Okay.
Which made me feel a little better because I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty good. And I was surprised critics really didn't like it. I don't know. What is your general feeling? Did you enjoy watching this movie?
I did enjoy watching it. But I do have to say this movie the movie felt like a real vibes movie. Like, it felt like something where I just enjoyed the flavor of it, but I wasn't too lost in like understanding the plot, the time period, the intricacies of it, because at some point in time I was mostly confused on what was happening, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to watch Christian Bale disappear into a character like only he can, and then
He's
just
so good.
Overall charisma of these three leads. I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm just going to take it in, and I'm not going to worry too much. I was maybe a little bit disappointed that these three couldn't like capture me all the way. I felt like halfway through the movie I kind of leaned back and just said, like, I'm just going to take it in. I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm not going to review it too hard, I guess. And so that's my overall, like, feelings on it.
I do think you are right. Like, the vibe is so fun, and I enjoyed watching these three leads. And also, the many, many big names who are in this movie. Just to name a few, you have Chris Rock is in this movie, Michael Shannon, Zoe Saldana, Rami Malek is in here, Robert De Niro, and also Taylor Swift for like 3 minutes. No spoilers. Like
Mike Myers. Mike Myers is in this movie too.
Oh, yeah.
On a roll.
I had to look up. I was like, is that Mike Myers? I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Like big names in this movie, but
Anya
it's really
Taylor-Joy
the three leads.
From Queen's Gambit is there.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, like big names, great actors. I did feel like the plot, it takes place in the 1930s. This is like post-World War. Part of the story is our main protagonists, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, and Christian Bale, all meeting during World War I. the two guys get injured. Margot Robbie ends up being a nurse, and they develop this incredible friendship between the three of them. And that's part of the thread throughout this whole movie. And then there's a lot of plot, like in the second half of this movie, like some real, like, what is the Marvel evil organization? Hydra. There's a lot of Hydra vibes, some legit Nazis, a lot of that, a lot of military talk. But I really feel like it's about these three and their, like, lives together and apart at some point. And I did love seeing the three of them. And it was like, would you say it's a love triangle? I mean, it's kind of a love triangle. It's complicated.
No, not really. It's not a love triangle because I think a love triangle means that there is, like, romantic interest between two of the corner points heading towards one. Christian Bale's character, Burt Berenson, is
that's a good name.
Does not have a romantic interest in either of them. He's like both John David Washington and Margot Robbie are together, but Christian Bale is just like a really good friend who has his own struggles with his marriage and love with Zoe Saldana and all that stuff. But it's not a triangle so much as it is just like a couple and a really good friend that they're both super close to.
Which I did really like seeing that dynamic play on screen because it's something that you would never think works in real life, where there's two who are romantically together, John David Washington and Margot Robbie's character, and then Christian Bale is this wonderful close friend to both of them, it seems like. But yeah, there is not that awkwardness of like...
He's great. Yes.
Christian Bale wants to be with Margot Robbie. Like, you never feel that, and you think like, maybe you can actually have a third wheel that's not a third wheel. It's actually like a stool. It's three legs instead of three wheels.
If anything...
It's a hole in the center of this donut. Sorry.
We cannot do any more Benoit Blanc. I'm actually going to cut us off right here and say we can't. We cannot.
I'm not doing anymore. Sorry.
I actually think that Christian Bale's character is tighter at the beginning with John David Washington. Like, they're the ones that are like pulled together, and Margot, Valerie comes in and is basically like, I want in. I want in on this group. Yeah. And then, like, I think romance develops later with Harold.
Pretty quickly. I think they kiss in the hospital, like, early on.
Oh, do they?
The John David Washington and Margot Robbie. I think Christian Bale walks in on them kissing or whatever. I think. But anyway. So the crux of the story is they meet, and there's a lot of time slippage. Like, we get a lot of flashbacks and all this kind of stuff. But they are in Amsterdam. This is like they got injured in the war and all that. And then they seem to start living together and just are kind of like living in Amsterdam, the three of them having this wonderful time. And eventually, John David Washington's character and Christian Bale are like, we got to go. Like, we have to go back to the States because we have entire lives there. Christian Bale is literally married. Like, they have to leave. And Margot Robbie begs them both, like, why? Like, we're having the time of our life.
We have it good here.
They're dancing together. I love the dancing scenes, and like they're like having this fun.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, which the title of the movie being Amsterdam. At first, I was like, it's so nondescript of what this movie is about, and like you would never know what it's like getting into it. But after seeing it, I kind of like that. That's the title because like Amsterdam. You know, it was like the feeling, it's thing
their Brigadoon. Right. It's their area. Yeah. It's like, we'll always have this.
Right.
Casablanca.
But they leave, and then terrible things happen. I guess my first question to you is, we kind of did Romance Corner, but now in, I don't know what you call this, Life Choices Corner. Should they have just thrown caution to the wind? Like, this seems like a silly question. Like, they had lives in another country. How could they changed hats for this question? Like, it seems so irresponsible to just stay in Amsterdam and live out your lives. Keep in mind, Christian Bale, like, I don't even know if he's living with his wife at this point because his wife's family is like horrible people. No. And like have kicked him out of the house basically. So
what a greatly terrible dynamic that I felt throughout that whole movie is her parents and her basically just always looking down on him and disliking him so much, and he's just, but he still wants to like renew their love together. Oh,
it was really heartbreaking. Like Christian Bale's like internal turmoil, especially when like Zoe Saldana is there and like she cares for him like in a legit way, and his wife really doesn't care about him. Like, is really just, I don't even know what she does towards him. Like, I don't even know how they got married. But like that whole dynamic, it's like Christian Bale also lost an eye. He's got like a glass eye this whole movie because he lost an eye while he was fighting, which is a hilarious point.
Always.
He also narrated. How'd you feel about him voiceover this movie? Because we hear Christian Bale like, you down?
I couldn't get enough Christian Bale in this movie. I thought his character was so lovable and like broken but strong, and like, I don't know, he was pure dreams and hopes, but with like the reality of pain at the same time. I thought the character was awesome. I wasn't quite sure about the accent, but I didn't care.
I didn't care either. He does seem like every moment he gets the short end of the stick, and yet he is still so selfless and hopeful. And I feel like it is such a...
He cares about the veterans.
Yeah, like his whole job is helping these veterans who can't really afford anything, and he's giving pain meds to people he probably shouldn't or who can't afford it. He's in a back brace, permanently injured from the war, lost the eye.
Christian Bale wore that really uncomfortable, painful back brace as part of his performance to like get him, to feel uncomfortable. I want to say that I read somewhere that like he like kept it on for quite a while just to kind of have that uncomfortable, painful feeling.
I feel like Tom Cruise is to action stunts as Christian Bale is to like method acting or whatever you call it. Like he goes all in.
Like he's maybe 5 degrees back from Daniel Day-Lewis, but he still like gets into the character is the character. Where I do have to say, I did feel like John David Washington, because he was surrounded by all these bombastic choices, and even like Margot's like character and that whole thing, like John David Washington kind of plays the like logical everyman in here. But he was so normal comparably to the other actors that I did feel like, are you the protagonist from Tenet? Like, did you temporal pincer back to the 1930s?
He was much more compelling.
You're living a life. I just think that compared to the other two in this group of three, I did feel like maybe he was the good balance, but I felt like he didn't quite disappear into the character as Christian Bale did. But maybe no one can.
But I do want to get your answer on my original question, where if you were one of those three... I'm
wearing the Romance Corner hat.
Yeah, you got the hat. You're in Amsterdam. You're having the time of your life. It's seemingly like it could never end. Do you stay, or do you go home to the U.S.?
I think you kind of have to go at some point in time. And that's the... I'm going to get my serious hat going.
Imagine you're John David Washington's character. So, like, it's not like you have some awkward marriage back home or there's no kids. Like, there's not really that much to go back to. Well, John David Washington's
character going back to the States in 1930s feels like Amsterdam might be a more friendly location. I'm not sure. Like, it's still like it's New York.
Fair.
But Amsterdam feels like a much better place to be.
Better option.
As his character. But I also think that like they want to do good back where they're from. And I think it's sort of like a wonderful vacation, is that sometimes you have to, well, I don't know. There's also part of me that goes like, you could just make it your life.
Right.
But I do feel like there was a sense of duty of we need to help other people, help the veterans, that would make you maybe want to go back.
I do envy the seemingly ability to have continuous joy and fun, seemingly no matter what. like the three of them in Amsterdam, it was like whatever happened, I don't know, like the joy that they seemed to exude with each other would carry through. It would supersede whatever else. Now, would it be accurate to say Margot Robbie's character would be an Enneagram 7, John David Washington would be like a 2, and then Christian Bale maybe like a 2, 3, or it could be a 9. Yeah, he's a helper.
It's been a while since I looked into my Enneagram types.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I was just trying to see if I could pinpoint them, but
yeah,
it's maybe. It's an attractive environment that they created in there. But unfortunately, they all leave. John David Washington, Christian Bale go home, and then someone like the general or whoever that they reported to in the military, who they greatly respected, was murdered. So now it becomes kind of like a quasi-murder mystery. Taylor Swift appears very quickly, leaves just as quickly.
She's around. Right.
Chris Rock is over here, and like we kind of enter a government espionage, like Nazi undercover thing. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's not worth it going into all this.
Chris Rock is in this movie not as much as I thought he would be.
Yeah, he's not in it.
He's really not in, I guess, but there are so many good actors in this movie that I guess you can't have a 6-hour long movie, so you can only have so much screen time to share. But yeah, when it comes to like the actual murder and them doing that, like, it was fine and good, but I don't think I sensed. Here's maybe a weakness of this movie. I don't feel like the peril struck me, like the stakes of it really felt. I didn't really feel it. So like their relationship, and when we find out later with Margot's character and all of that stuff and that whole reveal and their connection to each other, I feel like those stakes are big. Like, we left Amsterdam, we lost that world. Can we ever get it back? That felt good. There was something about both the murder and the Nazis and like all of this together that felt like it's supposed to be big, but it didn't grab me. And maybe that's because I'm just sitting here loving the vibes and not invested in the plot that much. I just want them to all be happy at the end of it. That's all I cared about is like, will Christian Bale be happy? Will John David Washington be happy at the end of this movie? That's all I care about.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I do feel like the stakes get raised a little bit when we get to like the final party and Robert De Niro is about to do a thing, which maybe it's changing hats again. And maybe we'll talk about that after the spoiler. Yeah. We'll talk about that after the spoiler horn, because I do feel like the transition to credits, adds a little bit there at the end too. But yeah, the rest of it, I was like, I just want to see the three together. Like, that was kind of my whole goal. Like, the plot maybe could have used a little work, but I want to see Christian Bale. I want to see the three of them together. So I don't know. That's how
I would say that they together made great ingredients, but the actual putting them together into something, the casserole that it made was just like, it was fine. But here's what I really want. I was like, oh, you put these three together. What I want is like a TV show where every week these three solve a new case or get into new hot water together. I just want them to go on adventures. And the fact that they didn't only went on the one adventure in this movie made me feel like, well, yeah, I could use more of this. I could use more hijinks. More eyeballs rolling out.
I want to see the three of the glass eye. The glass eye is rolling out, not a real eye. The glass eye. I would love to see the three of them in another movie. Like, whatever other cast surrounds them, whatever their other plot, could be sci-fi, could be historical, whatever. I would just like to see the three of them in a thing. Maybe rate it, spoiler horn, and then we talk about Robert De Niro in the end and stuff. So
sure, let's do it.
Who goes first? Who goes first this week? I always forget.
You do.
I think I go first. I think we have to talk about. Do you have a glass eye, or was it like one of those like wooden deals, like Pirates of the Caribbean?
He had the eye that Michael Shannon presented to him, right? Like a whole collection of eyes.
Can I just say, I don't think this is a spoiler, but Michael Shannon and Michael Myers as like CIA operatives. It's hilarious.
No, isn't like one of them CIA and one of them's
FBI or something. CIA and FBI or something like that.
Two different organizations.
I don't know. They were hilarious. Like, they were never purposely funny. MI6, yeah, I think one was MI6. But, like, they had great quips, like little lines here or there. I love seeing the two of them on screen. Like, they were very funny. But anyway, on a scale of 0 to 5 eyeballs, not gross eyeballs. This is glass eyes. 0 to 5 glass eyes. You're being
very clear that the eyeballs are not gross. Were you hurt by the
I don't know
cartoon
if being
Anastasia?
on YouTube, if we're on wait, what was Anastasia?
Oh,
was it glass eye?
Loses his eye. No, a regular eye, a gross eye.
Oh,
I didn't know if you've been hurt by a gross eye before coming out. No?
I mean,
okay. That's fine.
I was fine in Minority Report when Tom Cruise had to like hold up the eyeball.
You worried about the YouTube crawling our episode and finding us talking about an eyeball rolling around and banning
some
us?
Some auto-generated transcription that says, we love to rate
some
eyeballs.
Minority Report level bot that comes in and scans eyes.
Don't do that. Don't do that on video. That's trigger warning. Anyway, yeah. So 0 to 5 glass eyes. I'll give it a solid 3. Solid 3. I think if someone has HBO Max and wants to stream it, I think it's pretty good. Check it out. The main character is a lot of fun to watch play off each other. I don't know if it has high rewatchability. I probably won't tune in again. But, yeah, overall pretty good. So I'll give it 3 glass eyes. What do you say, Nate?
I'm going to go exactly the same. I think 3 for me. It is not riveting, but I think it should be. And I think that's maybe one of the biggest knocks against it, is that it should be riveting, but instead it's just pleasantly enjoyable and goofy. Like, it is a movie.
Yeah.
We talked about Knives Out recently that has originality all over it. So if you want a movie not like other movies, not like your normal right down the plate, but just a fun, odd vibes movie, this one's for you, but you don't have to pay attention that much.
Right. Just enjoy the vibes.
Just enjoy the vibes.
So we're going to have spoilers now after the foghorn. You like that? I was able to play the foghorn sound effect.
That was good.
You actually have it in the
looking
video.
at it. Looking out to sea.
Looking around. You need a sailor's hat. You need a sailor's hat for that one.
Oh, what? I have
find one on him.
No.
Oh, you have a sailor's hat? No. Okay. Two spoilers I want to talk about is just the moment that John David Washington and Christian Bale find Margot Robbie in this house with this family that really hard to put your finger on until later in the movie. Like, it's like they're rich people. Maybe they have influence. Maybe they have altruistic intentions. And then we come to find out,
but
they're actually all evil.
Around town as people that you need to know. They're like,
right, exactly. They have the connections. They know Robert De Niro's character, and then Margot Robbie's there, and they're saying, oh, she's really struggling with things, and that's why she's locked away in this room. Very sad, because you remember those joyous times from Amsterdam, and that's when I think, man, if they would have stayed, and they all just were still in Amsterdam, would they have just avoided all this pain and suffering, and could they have just enjoyed their lives? But no, I don't know. Did you find? I mean, how good?
It gives you the feelings that her character's always been eccentric and peculiar and making this funky art in Amsterdam, and then you transpose her back to the States and they have her locked up in a room, heavily medicated, and basically yes, she
also
is
poisoned.
Not well. Yeah, and they're constantly you find out they're just poisoning her and giving her fainting spells, which, by the way, her walking while trying to faint and the other two trying to help her walk and be cool is so earnest and lovely together.
Yes, it is. It's nice moment.
But you do have a moment of going, oh wait, which one is she? Your immediate thought is oh
yes,
did she trick them into thinking that she was could function, and but her family really knows that she's delusional in these different ways, or and which one? And I think you find out later, obviously, that no, she is just a beautifully eccentric person, and then her family has tried to bury her away.
Which it's almost a relief to hear that she's being poisoned, because now she can stop being poisoned and she can live, her normal life. And then they eventually get to Robert De Niro, who's like this general or whatever. The secret Nazi group is trying to get him to side with them. And he's going to make this speech at like this veterans thing. And they want him to cover up these murders that happened and show his support for this. Yeah. What is it? The five, whatever. The five. Hand of fire. The five.
Ring of power. No.
Ring of fire. Yeah. The fiery five.
Ring of fire.
The fiery ring of fire. Five.
Earth, and ice. Captain Planet.
Captain Planet. Thank you. And so the three of them get to Robert De Niro's character, and we get to the party scene where he's about to make the speech. And I just want to say, obviously, we all know Robert De Niro is an amazing actor. But I feel like the authority that he can bring as like playing a military general in a movie, I don't think ever having been in the military, it's pretty astounding. Like he just has so much gravitas that just like pools around him whenever he's on screen. There's that whole scene where Rami Malek is like talking to him, trying to convince him to like not do the murders. We find out at that moment that Rami Malek is bad, and so's the girl. And like Robert De Niro's just standing there, like he's not saying a word. He's just standing there staring at him.
They want him to be like their new leader of like the New World Order kind of group.
Yeah, exactly. And Robert De Niro just standing there saying nothing is incredible. Like his performance, just listening to Rami Malek, like it's amazing. And then when he makes the speech, amazing. Like it's wonderful. And I don't know, Robert De Niro, he's a treasure. I enjoyed it.
Here's a hot take for you.
Hot take.
I thought he was great. I didn't necessarily want him in the movie. He was great. They were great. But every time that they brought him in as sort of a bigger entity, I felt like I lost track of my three buds from Amsterdam. And there was something about, I would have liked if it was like Christian Bale's character just played that role, or like was the one approached for this and he had to give the speech or something. Obviously, Robert De Niro was great, did a great job at it, but I felt like that whole part took me away from the thing I cared about most, and it almost felt like a different movie, a movie that required more connection to the plot and more like espionage and more Michael Shannon and Mike Myers doing their thing, and a little bit less of what I had invested in the first half of the movie. So I did feel like you're good, but I don't know if I need you in this one.
Sure.
He became such a big important thing.
It was all about him in like the last third of the movie. But the movie also does this crazy thing where they show Robert De Niro's speech and slowly fade into, I guess, an actual speech made in the 1930s by some congressman or general. Like he's making the speech in Congress. Like this is a historical footage from the 1930s, I guess. And apparently it's like also revealing that there was some secret organizations within the U.S. trying to like connect with the Nazis. And I was like, wait a minute. So what part of this is like true story, like based on true story? But apparently at least that part, part was. So
the whole like the five thing was actually like a real thing that of like people, like important people in business all coming together to have this shadowy cabal of influence.
Shadowy cabal. Yeah. So that was fun. In the end, I do feel like in the end, though, we did lose the three of them. The party scene is fun. Chris Rock is there. We see everybody. Like, it's good music, shucking and jiving. We get a absolutely heart-wrenching scene between Christian Bale and his wife when I think they finally end it. But my goodness, that was tough.
Right.
Though, I don't know.
Then I do feel like the end of this movie sort of just kind of scampers towards the finish line and just like it's almost like we're done. We're done. Which was fine because at the end it was just like, you guys run back to Amsterdam, I'll stay here and be with Zoe Saldana, and it'll be great. Everything will be great. But it did feel like it didn't like swell to like a beautiful thing. It was kind of like the end. Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And I was like, good vibes. All right, I'm good. 3 out of 5.
Yeah. Those vibes were really good, though.
Would you recommend someone watch it?
Oh, I think so. I think I did in the rating. I don't. I struggle because we've talked about this. Been trying to watch like some older movies that I haven't seen yet that are critically acclaimed, and I'm trying just in this season that we are in right now, this is early 2023, trying to like watch good movies. Like I want to watch good movies. I tried watching Black Adam again the other day, just the action scenes. It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie at all. It's actually a bad movie. But, I was just trying, and I was like, I just couldn't do it anymore. But some of the movies that are like critically acclaimed, I think I told you, I tried to watch Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler. And
Didn't do it for you.
That was just so weird and awkward. And so I feel like this, if you're going to watch a movie and it not feel weird and awkward like some of the older classics, like I think this is a good one. And if you're looking for something to watch on a Friday night or Saturday night or whatever, you're not sure what to watch, and you're just like, what should I just put on? I think it's a good one for that. If there's a big movie that come out recently that you really want to see, I would watch this over. I haven't seen Avatar: The Way of Water, but maybe this is more worth it than that from what I've heard on social media.
I guess this is our logging in and saying from our past episode, we haven't yet watched Avatar: Way of Water. We will, but it may be in the comfort of our own homes.
I think it 100% will be. I mean, a 3.5 hour movie, that's at least 4 restroom trips for me. I don't know if I could do that. That's a lot.
Well, it's because you have your big thermos of water you take everywhere. Now, it's a call back to our bonus episode. So if everyone wants to hear about Steven's teddy bear, which is his thermos of water he brings to bed every night with him,
it's not a teddy bear.
Then you can go. How do you listen to our bonus episode one more time, Steven? For those who have loved this experience and want more of it?
Nate, are you telling me you don't know the URL for our bonus episodes?
This is called a handoff.
I know. I thought, I like hearing you say it. The fingers that close to the camera is a little weird. I don't know about that. Good. Patreon.com/movies on the side. You can go support the show for, I don't like that at all, for any amount. And you can both listen to our bonus episodes and watch them there. If Nate is doing some troubling things on the camera right now. And so if you typically listen to our podcast and have not seen it yet, you can watch this episode and the disturbing imagery that Nate is creating in his camera at youtube.com/@movies on the side, @movies on the side. Links in the episode description. That was pretty slick. Why don't you do that again? Nate's doing now magic tricks over there. He's like David Blaine, doing things with his hands. Anyway, watch and listen to the shows. Like and subscribe. Smash the like. No, this is what you got to do right here. This is you ready? Here we go.
We cannot. Yep, that's good. You did it. Well done.
Thank you very much. All right, and as we always say,
I need to have these up beforehand, don't I? Watch this.
See, this is one of these things. At the end of the episodes, if this is your first time watching us, typically I'll say, as we always say, which is a joke because we say something different every week. And it's because Nate will typically look up a quote from the movie and do a dramatic performance of that quote here at the end of the show. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's deep. Maybe he'll add a little of his own flavor on it. But as we always say,
each one of us is given a tapestry, our own opera. This person and this person, thinking about it, love is not enough. You got to fight to protect kindness. You get attached to people and things, and they might just break your heart. But that's being alive.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think it sounded kind of like him. I'll have to go back. Maybe I'll pull the quote.
It's not in his voice. I felt like it was his essence. Because I cannot remember what he sounded like. One bit.
Neither can I. That's why I say it's close, because I really don't know. Yeah, it sounds close.